The whole life cycle and the whole process of vermiculture, it's just amazing. From decay and degradation springs life. Well, my name is Jesse Raudenbush, and I am a professional worm farmer. I got my start in vermiculture or worm farming through my grandmother, Maggie Pipkins. I started at a very young age out on the East Coast. I'm originally from Boston, Massachusetts. My grandmother had a worm farm in Buzzards Bay, Massachusetts, which is just Upper Cape Cod. And I would spend my summers hanging out with her, and about age 7, she started having me work for her. I got my bachelor's degree in English from Tuskegee University, and initially I was going to go into a career of news reporting or possibly education. Didn't pan out that way. The Master Gardener program was really a huge stepping stone as far as my personal knowledge and education, as well as becoming a great engine for me to disseminate information accurately what I'm doing with vermiculture, the uses and benefits of the whole process, using and selling the end result in organic fertilizer. I needed a way to be able to better explain that process to the layman.
A third of the food we eat globally, an estimated 1.3 billion tons, ends up as waste. All the work we put into producing that food is wasted. And what's worse, it costs us. America alone spends an estimated $165 billion a year managing food waste. We're wasting food, energy, and money. Perhaps worst of all, we're wasting the chance to change, to make the system of food consumption more efficient. If you want to bring on that change, you should know about a humble yet diligent and ever so crucial ally, the worm.
I look at the process of vermicomposting or vermiculture or worm farming as a means of becoming more proactive in your own life, really. So you're cutting out fertilizer middlemen, you're cutting out the carbon footprint that we make in transporting all of this waste to the landfill. Many municipalities are now composting. Ann Arbor is one of those that's composting on a large scale, which is fantastic. With a very simple natural process, we can retain something we might normally call waste and enhance that by having our worms just chew that up and compost it down and process it.
Worms convert organic waste and other compostable products into natural fertilizers. Up to 75% of what we put in the waste stream can become food and bedding material for vermicomposting. You can create a worm bin in your own home to see the composting process in action. First off, you need worms, and not your typical earthworms. You need red worms, Eisenia foetida, the species responsible for most vermicomposting in North America. These red wigglers are surface dwellers who don't burrow too deep. They're optimal feeders around room temperature, and they're well suited to converting organic waste into usable fertilizer. Now, your worms might be vermin, but they need a comfortable space to live and work. Some bedding material, either shredded paper or cardboard, some moisture, and of course, food. Namely, your leftovers, slightly decomposed table scraps. The worms break down food waste and other organic matter into castings, a fancy synonym for worm poop. When your bin seems to be full of living vermicelli noodles, it's time to share the bounty with your friends and start a vermicompost club. Or keep those worms to yourself and start a business. Vermicomposting isn't confined only to small worm bins. It's an emerging entrepreneurial enterprise.
So the name of my farm or small business is Star Valley Farms, 2 R's, named after my daughter, Star. The gist of what we do is vermicomposting or worm farming with the primary goal of generating worm castings. That's earthworm poop, the black gold, the organic fertilizer. So that's the primary purpose, and that's where the majority of my annual income stems from. We have approaching 50 in-ground worm beds in about a 120-mile radius of Ann Arbor. If you add the potential of all of those up, we could compost more than 100,000 pounds of organic material per year. These worm systems actually become even more efficient with time. It blows my mind that me, one guy, has set this up. We get a team of 24 people doing this. This could become an industry not only for those people doing it, but for the city of Ann Arbor.
Large-scale facilities convert bulk organic waste and even manure into rich black castings called black gold. Its value as a soil additive is unparalleled, and it can help plants resist harmful pathogens. The lack of available land in urban environments, coupled with growing interest in smaller-scale farming, means there's a market for vermicomposting. Many communities use composting as part of zero-waste strategies, and they can sell their worm-eaten table scraps to local farms hungry for rich fertilizer.
Many municipalities are now composting. Ann Arbor is one of those that's composting on a large scale, which is fantastic. I'm involved with a community gardening organization called Project Grow. It's not only a community garden, we open and set up public gardens that can be rented very affordably to the general public. Specifically, since it's a community garden, their purpose is helping to teach people how to grow food, good, healthy food. And vermiculture just fits perfectly into the movements that are going on around here. Local food production, waste diversion, sustainability, closed loop farming.
Instead of wasting money dumping wasted food in landfills, we can remake waste into an asset, putting it back into our food system to make it more sustainable. All with the help of the humble worm, the tiny organism that can help us change the way we look at food's place in our lives, and our place in the world, as long as we give the little guy a place at our table. Well, not an actual seat at the table. A bin in the shed is fine.
I'm helping folks clean up after themselves. And one of the incentives, this beautiful finished product in organic fertilizer, the worm castings. And introducing that stuff into your soil, it's that biodiversity that is living in this compost. Anywhere you apply that is going to enhance the land and the soil. It's reinvigorating, introducing life into very often dead soil. By planting the seed, as it were, in our youth and bringing them back to the earth and back to the soil and teaching them the importance of fostering our soil, that's preserving our future. While anyone can do it, homeowners, apartment dwellers, condo dwellers, anyone can do this. But it does, you got to pay attention. These are living creatures. We're fostering their habitat, so we can't just forget about them. Remember to feed your worms.